And welcome back, everybody, to Two Goalies, One Mic, episode 227, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, get on down to Fatty Beer. Let them know that we sent you over Two Goalies, One Mic. They got their concert series going on right now at the Lancaster location. Plus, I mean, not all their locations. They have live music, entertainment, great vibes, good people, and great bartenders. So make sure you go check them out. And of course, as always, Impulse Physical Therapy of Western New York, located at 5087 Broadway, Suite 100 in Depew, New York. If you need any physical testing done, you got to slip and fall at work, hurt yourself on the ice, hurt yourself in the field, you got to get back on your feet. I was actually just there this past week, following up on my last visit, just to kind of see where I'm at with my leg, and I got some really good news. Like my right leg is 30 to 40% better in pretty much everything that we did, from calves. I mean, the only one I'm kind of lacking a little bit is quads right now, because I mean that's my quad muscle is, which obviously, when it comes to my knee, which is where I'm still experiencing some pain from my injury. That's where I still need to improve. But everything else, I was like 30 to 40% better than my previous visit. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Hopefully, we'll get back to playing hockey soon, maybe by the winter. So that's my hope. But I wouldn't be able to do without the people over at Impulse Physical Therapy of Western New York, again, located in Depew, on Broadway, right next to Catalyst Fitness. So make sure you go check them out. Let them know that Two Goalies One Mic sent you. Hurls, the dog days of a Sabres summer. Not a lot to talk about, but there is a little bit to talk about. News coming out today that Gotham Sports is no more, and that apparently the Sabres will be broadcasting on. How do you say this? Is it just DAZN? What is this?
DAZN.
DAZN. Okay, that's what I figured. But I just wanted to be sure. So it's going to be on DAZN now. I haven't really looked into all the semantics surrounding it, and if you have to, you have to subscribe to something now, or is it just, I don't know how this works.
Well, if you're in the Sabres in-town market and you have cable, you can still watch on MSG.
Okay.
And if you're out of market like myself, it still streams on ESPN Plus. So I'm not necessarily sure who this affects. Maybe it's the in-market people that don't have cable. I think that might be the I'm sure that exists. So for people that have cut the cord or whatever, that live in the Buffalo area, I guess that's where you'll stream games now. So that's cool. And I saw a couple people online say that the Gotham Sports app was horrible. So maybe this will be better. I know DAZN has broadcasted a lot of boxing matches over the years. They broadcasted a lot of different events. I know it's a well-respected streaming service and platform. So I think from a technical standpoint, this is good news. And I would say it's a small amount of people in the Western New York area that don't have MSG, but for those that do, hopefully this is better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm local, so I never really had to deal with any nonsense. I mean, sometimes I guess maybe there were some minor issues, but I never really had any. Again, I have Spectrum, just watch it on MSG and call it a day. But we'll see how this all works out for people like you. Again, I saw.
I guess
at
that's
work,
what I'm saying
it was tough to keep up with.
It doesn't change anything for me. So games will still be on ESPN Plus for out-of-market consumers. So anyone that's outside of Western New York, you can still stream games on ESPN Plus. I think this only affects people in the area that don't have cable that are looking to watch Sabres games still. That's all. That's if I'm not mistaken, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's this. This is who this affects.
Okay. Well, hopefully, the transition's easy. I've heard of DAZN before. Again, I never knew how to say it. Just was I supposed to is it DAZN? DAZN?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, if it works out for the better, great. So I guess that's news, right? In a world where there isn't a lot of news to talk about right now when it comes to the Sabres, I'll take it. I guess it's just something to talk about. Um, what have you been up to? How's hockey been? Again, we don't, we're talking like once a week now. I mean, we text here and there, but like, how's life out in Cali?
It's been good. Hockey's been great. Going into playoffs for my 2 beer leagues here soon. So that's been good. I've been working a ton. Yeah, it's been a good summer. It's oppressively hot out here. We were just talking about our AC units before this. That's I feel
Yeah.
like a pretty typical summer conversation. But yeah, everything's good. I can't complain. I am going on my 11th, well, right past my 11th year out in LA, and yeah, it's a good place to be throughout the year for sure. But summer's beautiful. I mean, it is hot, but it's not like muggy or super humid, so that's nice at least. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everything's good. Just hanging out, and Bill's training camp starting here soon, so that's exciting. I know the month of August can feel slow sometimes because people are waiting for football season, waiting for hockey camp, but I typically like the month of August a lot. It's a time to reset. I'm starting work at the tennis channel soon, and hard court season's coming up, and the U.S. Open's coming up at the end of the month, which is one of my favorite tournaments. I actually attended in person last year, which is really cool. So people want to get into tennis, that could be a good way to pass time. There's 3 major tournaments in the month of August, Washington, D.C., Cincinnati, and the U.S. Open, which I will be working all of those as a segment producer at the tennis channel. So that'll be cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's been
Do you play
fun.
tennis?
I actually played last night for the first time in like 10 years.
What about pickleball?
I played pickleball a few times. I'm a tried and true ping pong player, table tennis player. Played my whole life, and I still play a good amount. Played over at the tennis channel a couple weeks ago, actually, and did pretty well. So that was self-affirming, to say the least, because it was against some pretty good players. I watched Marty Supreme over the weekend for the first time, and
dude, I love that movie.
I loved it too. It was really chaotic, and
he plays.
I wanted more
Timothy,
table tennis, but like it was still good.
Timothy Chalamet played a really good piece of shit. I will say
Yeah,
that. Like, he really did.
He was great in it, and I just wish there was more ping pong / table tennis in the movie. But
yeah,
it is a movie, so you can't ask too much. But yeah, everything's good. I guess the only thing top of mind for me, because it was right after we taped last week, was the Patrick Kane news, and I actually just listened to his or at least most of his interview on Part of My Take last week, and him going through all of the nostalgia of those Stanley Cup runs in the early 2010s with the Blackhawks, and talking about going back to the place that drafted him and being with a young team and being a mentor. I don't blame the guy at all, especially for the contract that he got.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, it's hard to turn down $8 million at AAV, dude. Like,
yeah,
there's no way Yarmer was offering that.
Shout out to his agent, Pat Brisson. He's the #1 hockey agent for a reason. I think that he, in the same way the Sabres kind of backed Kyle Davidson into a corner, he might have done the same with what Patrick Kane's role is going to be on that team. But good for him. I don't necessarily feel any ill will. I think that the Sabres would have had to dramatically change their middle 6 or even top 6 to get Patrick Kane willing enough to come here to do what he's going to do in Chicago, which is playing a top 6 role. Absolutely. Be on the top power play unit, especially with Connor Bedard out to begin the season. So that's a good situation for him to end his career. Same thing with LeBron James going to the 76ers. I think nobody can blame him for very similar contract, which is interesting. LeBron actually took less money than Patrick Kane, which is hilarious. But yeah, all's well that ends well. I think a lot of people were against the Patrick Kane to Buffalo idea. For those people, they're very happy. And for those of us that were okay with it, I can lie peacefully at night knowing that we weren't going to pay him $8 million a year. So is what it is.
Yeah, and listen, it would have been not nostalgia, like just having the kid come home, if that's the way you want to word this whole thing, through the grapevine in the hockey circles, the one thing that always kind of followed Patrick Kane around was like he just didn't want to play here because of, earlier in his life, things that happened while he was back home. Not to get, too deep into all that, the drinking, the allegations, and just, we all know what it was. But from people that I always spoke to that knew him, he's always like, yeah, he had no interest in playing for Buffalo. Well, allegedly, the last 2 times he's been a free agent, it came down to Buffalo being one of the teams. But that being said, if there was more of a better time for him to play here, it would have been now. You know what I mean? Like, you just broke the drought. There'll be opportunity. The Sabres desperately need a guy on the power play. He would have been at. So, in my opinion, again, I hold no ill will toward the guy because, again, $8 million a season at the point he is in his career. I mean, I think Crosby makes 8.7. I think that's he signed the same contract every time his contract's up. But like to get offered that to go to a place you're very familiar with, that you're comfortable having your kid and your family in. No, I don't blame it at all. But at the same breath, like I don't ever want to hear that, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm like, if you follow me on social media, I pounded the table hard. You can't tell me he wasn't in his driveway as a kid scoring the game-winning goal to win a Stanley Cup as fill in the blank. Maybe it was Briere, you know what I mean? It was LaFontaine, or he's the same age as me, so it was LaFontaine, or maybe it was fill in the blank. But like, I'm just done. I'm just so happy we're done having that conversation. I don't ever want to have that conversation again, because if there was a time for him to sign with us, it was now.
Well, maybe the trade deadline. No, I no, it's probably not going to happen, especially with that contract. So, yeah, it's. I think it's over. It's done with. We can move on, knowing that we gave it a good shot. It was fun to at least be down to the final 2 teams and have it be a realistic possibility. But is what it is. Don't necessarily care. Shout out to him, and yeah, have fun not making the playoffs.
Yeah, and again, they don't stand a chance, especially not having Bedard to start the season. That's like such a massive blow to them. Another guy who just got paid. Shout out to Matt. So my buddy David Evert, shout out to him and congratulations to him. He just had a baby boy today. Him and his wife's first, and they named him Macklin. And then legitimately, like after I guess he sent the text out to everybody. 20 minutes later, Macklin celebrating signed the biggest contract in NHL history. So, shout out to Dave. Yeah, to young Macklin, and shout out to Macklin Celebrini for getting paid today. Shout out to Connor Bedard for getting paid. Was it 5? Did he say the Bedard signed for 5 years, 15?
I didn't see the details of that one, but yeah, something around that.
Yeah. Got a good question going back to the Kane thing. Do you think fans will boo Kane at the home opener? That's a very good question.
No, because he's going to have a ton of family there, as he always does whenever.
Yeah, but it's not going to be all of South Buffalo.
No, it's going to be a lot of South Buffalo. But
a lot of South Buffalo, sure.
I know. Like if people boo Patrick,
I'm not going to. I'm going to be there. I won't.
If anyone boos him for doing what was best for his career, then you don't understand that hockey is a business and he did what was best for him. I honestly believe him playing in a top 6 role on the first, he's accomplished all he's needed to in his career thus far. Mm-hmm. If he wants to pad his stats a little bit more and go back to the place that drafted him, it makes complete sense for where Patrick Kane is in his career. He probably would have had to take $4 million less, probably less, only a year, maybe a 1 year, $3.5-4 million deal to play with the Sabres, maybe on the second or third line. Who knows on the first power play unit? Probably, I guess. But it doesn't necessarily mean it would have been deserved. It was probably not as good of a situation. And for people to boo him for that, like that would be insane.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Listen,
You boo Jack like that. You boo people that disrespect the city. He's never disrespected the city of Buffalo, in my opinion. So
definitely not.
There's no reason to boo.
I can actually agree with that. Yeah. I mean, again, I'll be there for the home opener. I'm not gonna boo him because I'm not that guy.
I hopefully will be too. And yeah, I am only booing people in very egregious situations. So
yeah,
I don't care.
Do you yeah, it would have been the one thing that would have been cool though is it would have been cool to see how many jerseys the Sabres how many Kane jerseys the Sabres would have sold. Like over under, you're probably talking. I mean, just the Kane family alone probably would have bought a couple hundred of them. You know, just because if you go anywhere in South Buffalo, like Imperial Pizza, wherever it might be, there's always a Kane jersey hanging somewhere. But it would have been, I think it would have been an impressive number, the amount of Kane merchandise they would have sold.
Yeah, would have been good for business, but the good thing about the Sabres this season tickets are way up. At least to begin the year, I would say the arena is going to be full no matter what. So I don't think they necessarily needed that for business. It would have been nice. But yeah, I don't necessarily think it matters. I think they're going to sell just as many or close to the same amount of Zach Benson jerseys this summer and leading into next season now that he's signed long term. If you want to get a very safe jersey that you know a guy will be on this team for the next 7 to 8 years and probably longer than that, it's Zach Benson. And I'm actually
Josh Doan, Zach Benson.
Yeah, no, I'm getting one soon myself. So I'm super stoked.
We're giving away a Josh Doan jersey.
Yeah, and another really good choice. And I think there's a lot of really good candidates for that type of thing, but I'd put Benson at the top of the list.
Yeah, no doubt. Next topic, we're gonna talk about a tweet that went kind of viral. Owen Zellweger I've seen a bunch of Zach Benson training videos. Now, here's the thing. This is like no different than watching Josh Allen throw to a wide open DJ Moore in practice in no pads. Like, you get excited, you put all the glitter on it, like, oh, look how great, look how great they already look together, the cohesiveness, this, that, and the other. We saw one of those videos today in the first day of training camp. Well, I mean, Owen Zellweger, he did look impressive in this video that we're going to pull up here in a second. I know you commented on it. But at the end of the day, it's just a simple skating and stick handling drill. I shouldn't say the word simple because I could, I'd be lucky to do that in roller. I mean, I'm a goalie. I mean, I play out in roller. I'd be lucky to even like do this to test 10% as well as Owen Zellweger did in here. But like, take it with a grain of salt, people. There's nobody chasing him. There's nobody defending him. It's just a simple drill. But still, it was cool to see, especially in an off season that has been as slow as it has been for the Sabres.
Yeah, and he's by far the most impactful addition. So you have to get excited about something. And I think watching the speed and the skill, similar to the strengths that Bowen Byram had, right? Because he's effectively going to replace Bowen Byram in the lineup, provided everything goes well. I think he will be on one of those top two pairs. Very likely we're going to get an Owen-Olin second D-pair combo. I think that it's exciting because that is exactly what his profile suggests. And even as you just watch his highlights, he's a very skilled puck mover. He's a very good skater. He is a bit undersized, and I think he can work on his physicality a little bit. Both guys on that second pair absolutely can work on their physicality a little bit. But when you're as skilled as they both are and can move the puck and retrieve the puck and get it up ice as fast as they can, I think that video is a really good indication of the type of player that he's going to be. He's going to be very exciting. He's going to be a high-skill guy, and I think he's going to be a impactful offensive defenseman for this team. And hopefully his defensive numbers go up a little bit as well. And I think that comes with time, comes with experience. But yeah, I personally got pretty excited about it because I haven't seen too much of him. So I think that was a good harbinger of what's to come.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to bring up that video. I'm going to see if I can. I just tried sharing my screen and it didn't quite work. So essentially I'm just going to send it to myself and bring it up as a video here rather than share the screen. But Yeah, you're bang on, man. This is definitely the most impactful addition they've made. I do like what we've seen from Crevier so far. Not so far, but like from what we saw last year from Chicago. Big guy, really good skater for his size, has an absolute cannon. Uh, but as of right now, he's probably on your third pairing, right? I would think. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I do you think it's a given that Owen Zellweger is in that second pairing spot?
Not a given, but I think he's the leader in the clubhouse at the moment. I think anything could happen in training camp. I think that
Mm-hmm.
competition breeds success throughout the team. And if Crevier shows that he's a better fit there, especially as a right-handed defenseman, I think that's a good thing, right? Then you could put Zellweger on your third pair and have a more balanced unit. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that video file up here right now. Just give me one moment. Let me see here. There we go. Pull it up. See if it'll let me upload it. At least I don't know. You would think. Normally it allows you to upload this stuff, but for some reason it's not letting me. Okay. I I don't know why it's not letting me upload this video. We gotta knock the rust off. We're only recording once a week compared to 4 or 5 times during the season, like we're normally used to. Don't know why it's not letting me do this right now. This is driving me nuts. Let me see, dude. Let me do that. Okay, there we go. I think we got it. All right, cool. Here we go. Let me get rid of our overlay here. Gonna give me some grace and pull it up. Oh, hold on. I gotta mute that because we don't want to get copyrighted. But yeah, here's the video in question. I mean, again, yeah, it looks impressive. I mean, very fluid. You already knew he was a great skater. But again, it's fun to watch stuff like this and get excited. But like you said, take it with a grain of salt, people. It's the offseason. And there's nobody defending him, nobody pushing him, no nothing. But having said that, excited to have him on the team. I would love to see how he fits in with. And I've seen some stuff too. People are already kind of predicting that he'll be a better fit with Owen Power than Bowen Byram. Your thoughts on that? Do you think he would? We've only had a small sample size of him in his career. We've seen what we've seen with the Ducks. I'm not going to lie to you. I know you live out there in California. I did not watch one single Anaheim Ducks game last year that did not involve the Buffalo Sabres. So I don't know if you watched him play extensively, having lived out in Cali. Do you think that's true? Could he be a better fit than Byram?
I would say that that's tough to say at this point because he doesn't have as large of a sample size as Byram does, both with Owen Power and in his NHL career. But I think moving forward, yeah, potentially. I think the ceiling is really high for him. I watched a few Ducks games last season. I don't remember him super specifically. I just know that they were a pretty fast, talented team, and they moved the puck really well. And that definitely included their defense. So watching that video, watching some of his highlights, and looking at his analytical profile, that's exactly what he projects as. And yeah, I think it's exciting. I really do. I can't play armchair coach or armchair GM and be like, oh my God, we absolutely fleeced. Well, it was a good deal with Chicago, but a lot of that is projection based, given that technically Chicago got the more ready or better NHL player in the deal. But getting Crevier and Owen Zellweger out of that is obviously really, really good business for Buffalo where they are, and especially given that they weren't going to pay Bowen Byram $12 million a year.
So. Yeah, which is still an insane, one of the worst contracts in hockey as of right now. Some accolades of his: WHL U.S. Division first All-Star team in 2022. 2023 WHL BC Division first All-Star team. He was a CHL Defenseman of the Year in 2023. And that's really about it. But he had 22 points last season, 7 goals, 15 assists for a +4 in 76 games played. He stands at 5'10", a smaller defenseman. Again, he plays with a lot of speed. Definitely, as you can see, he has some talent there offensive. You would assume has some talent offensively. I do remember the one goal he did score for this year for Anaheim in the playoffs. He played 3 games, 2 points, a goal, and an assist, and was a +2. So there's definitely some high hopes for him. And in an offseason again where there hasn't been much to talk about, whether you're upset about that or not. Again, I'm glad we didn't pay Patrick Kane $8 million for 2 years AAV for 2 years. The Connor Hellebuck stuff has been quite a bit quiet. Actually, I seen Jesse Pollock from Bar Down. He flat out said he wouldn't be surprised if Hellebuck started the season with the Jets this year.
Yeah, trades are hard to, especially a trade of that magnitude, they're hard to make, and they don't happen that often in the NHL. I think that their asking price is way too high, especially knowing what we know that they asked for Zach Benson. So it just might not make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I think, like I said last week, I am very much okay with this being the opening night roster for the Sabres in 2026, 2027, knowing that it's a very similar team to a team that maybe not exactly the same, but a similar team to that got 109 points and won the Atlantic Division. Yeah, they might be a tiny bit worse, but I don't think significantly worse, especially if Konsta is able to play 75-plus games in the NHL this season. Yuri Kulik is able to come back. Zellweger is as good or potentially even better than Bowen Byram, and they get similar goaltending that they did from that trio in UPL, Alex Lyon, and Colton Ellis, which is looking like that's what it's going to be on opening night and into the season. And then if they're in a position to be buyers, I do not doubt for a second that Jarmo will go out and try to make this team better at the deadline, just like he did last year. I think that the Sam Carrick addition was great. Hopefully he can contribute this season. Logan Stanley and Luke Shen, probably net negatives or basically zero in terms of their impact. But I know he did try for Colton Parayko. He did try for Robert Thomas. And
he's willing to take a big swing.
Yeah, and there's going to be names at the trade deadline this upcoming, I guess it would be late February, early March, like Connor McDavid that potentially can be available.
Yo, Austin Matthews, I think both their contracts expire the same year.
Exactly. That's obviously way, way, way less realistic than even a guy like Robert Thomas, maybe even Jason Robertson, given that he signed a 1-year deal. But you never know what could happen at the trade deadline when your team's a buyer. So,
what would you give up for either of those guys? Honestly,
McDavid
it would be astronomical.
Well, it's like probably your next 5 first-round picks, your top 5 prospects. Yeah. You give up your entire future for those players. I would say way more so McDavid than Matthews. But imagine Austin Matthews on this team. Imagine him crossing the border.
He was a fan of Danny Briere when he was with the Sabres. We do know that for a fact.
And he grew up playing with Tage Thompson and Josh Doan. Yeah. Imagine them on a line together. Like I don't know. Don't want to daydream too much in the end of July, early August of.
Oh no.
But I do know that I am comfortable with this roster going into opening night if it does stay the way that it does, and knowing that they will be able to compete and hopefully be buyers at the deadline and go out and get a some type of top six forward to give them a better chance at the Cup next spring.
So if they were to make one more move for you, if that move was to happen, is it Hellebuck for you? Is that the one you want?
I would prefer a top 6 edition over Hellebuck. I would.
Really?
Yeah. I think what they would have to give up to get Hellebuck and the impact he potentially could or couldn't make, especially if the main reason would be his performance in the playoffs. I think obviously Robert Thomas would be the prize at the moment, but getting another top 6 center, because currently an article came out the other day and they were ranking top 6 center rankings throughout the league, and the Sabres were in the bottom half of the league in terms of it currently being some combination of Josh Norris, Noah Ostlund, Yuri Kulik, and Konsta Helenius as the top 6 centers. We don't even know who's going to center that second line yet. So, yeah, getting a second line center, I think, is potentially more important than getting a guy like Connor Hellebuyck.
I'm actually kind of surprised, given our conversations on this show about Hellebuyck,
And that's no disrespect to him. I just think, and you have to consider all factors, right? You have to consider what would be required to get Connor Hellebuyck, what his age is, his past playoff performances. Everything needs to be thought of, not just that he had one of the best games of his life in the gold medal game against Canada and he won the Hart Trophy 2.5 seasons ago, right? Like there's a lot to consider with these things. And if you get a younger top 6 center or wing that you can add to your lineup for the next 7 to 8 years on a better deal and also give up way less to acquire a player like that, I personally would prefer something like that.
Apparently, we've heard Yarmo say this too. Ellis will have a larger role this season, which goalie of UPL or Lion will lose games to Ellis. I mean,
if we're talking age, it's Alex Lyon, but it really comes down to performance.
I think whomever is playing better, I think will lose a start here and there.
You do need to consider Alex Lyon's age though, because he turns 34 in December, and if you want him to be in a better position than he was this past playoff or this past postseason, I think cutting down his regular season game count even just a tiny bit would help him in the postseason.
Apparently, I guess Marty Baron said that there hasn't been a Hellebuyck trade because there's no market for UPL.
I haven't heard that, but
I
would also be surprised by that too. I think that
you're telling me that like Edmonton wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, I mean they were interested in Devin Levi, right? Like obviously it takes a lot less to acquire.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're telling me that they would have rather had Devin. I mean, maybe, sure. We're very. I mean, we all know how bullish I've always been on Devin, and I wish him nothing but luck.
It's just way more of a projection at this point.
Yeah,
so, yeah. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if Devin did win that starting role.
I'll say
at some point during the season.
There's a lot of speculation this time of year, and there's a lot of talk and a lot of rumors, and I don't necessarily know if that's true or not. And until there was like some concrete evidence to prove that, I think that's just kind of hearsay.
Where do you project the top 4 centers looking? Like opening night, you would assume Josh Norris. I mean, actually, should we assume that? Could it be Tage?
I don't want to assume it, but given that Tage eventually played wing for most of the postseason, correct?
Yeah, like, you would assume he'd be on the wing, yes.
Yeah.
But you also thought they might have made an improvement at center this offseason, and they haven't, unless you're assuming that Hellenius and Kulik are the additions.
Where if no changes are made, where I would like it at the moment would be Norris, Ostlund, McLeod, Carrick.
So you got Kulik on the Kulik might start in Rochester on opening night.
Depending on his health. It really depends. It's going to take a while for him to get back to game speed in the NHL, but I think Ostlund projects better as a center in terms of his playmaking ability, his defensive metrics. I think he is more of a 120-foot player. Is 100 foot? I think it is. Either way, I like Noah Ostlund as a center as opposed to a wing. I think Hellenius is more of a sniper, and he can play the wing at a high level in the NHL, whether that's on the second or third line. I like Ryan McLeod best as a third line center. I think that's where he
fits best. I agree.
Yeah, where he's shown he's fit best in the NHL. And then Sam Carrick is your fourth line center. I think, obviously, based upon what we saw from him in the 12 games he played for the team, I think that is where he's best suited. So that's what I would like at this current moment. I think people probably can disagree a little bit here and there, but I think that's where they project best.
I think they could possibly have one of the best, if not the best, fourth line in the league with Malenstein, Carrick, and whomever it is on that other wing. Probably Krebs, I'd imagine, because Carrick is your centerman on that line. Who knows who the other winger would be, but I think they have the potential of having one of the best fourth lines in
Yeah,
the
I
league.
mean, it's probably if it's Carrick, Mallinston, Krebs, that is almost a perfect fourth line in my opinion. You've got faceoffs, you've got toughness, you've got penalty killing. If they do decide to do, because you're going to need it this year without Greenway and Tuck. So
They still have too many forwards.
yeah, so two of those guys will absolutely need to be on the penalty kill. I imagine McLeod's going to be on the penalty kill. Got to consider Danforth, I guess. But yeah, as of this current moment, that is who I would project to be the fourth line, and I would love that as the fourth line.
I agree. Before we get to your final thoughts, just to give a shout out to our sponsors again. Shout out to Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, get on down to Fatty Beer. Let them know we sent you over at 2 Goalies, 1 Mike. And, of course, Impulse Physical Therapy, Western New York. Hey, Western New York, it's time to ditch the physical therapy clinics that treat you like you are just another number and step into a world where you, yes, you are at the center of your care. Impulse is owned by Buffalo's only board-certified sports physical therapist who work one-on-one with science-backed technology like 3D motion analysts and force plates to help you exceed your goals and become the best, healthiest, strongest version of yourself. So come experience the Impulse difference today and mention this for a discounted $77 assessment. I actually used the force plates last week, for my testing. And it's actually like kind of crazy, Hurls. Like, like essentially they almost like ratchet straps. They strap your knees down to these force plates, and you have to like essentially for your calves, like as hard as you can do a calf raise and hold it for as long as you can, hold it as long as you can, and other stuff like that, like measuring like your ability to almost do a reverse leg extension, how force stuff like that, how like standing on one leg on a force plate, and it's like it does like a little squiggle line to see where your weight distribution is on that particular leg for 15 seconds, and it was kind of crazy. It's really interesting, and I mean I don't know the analytics of it, but especially like it looks very well done, and Alex Peters, who is one of the owners of Impulse. He attends the NHL Combine every year. He's one of the guys that works with the players. When they do their hip testing, he's there every year. So, and I do believe they are taking on I don't know if he's current or former NHL strength and conditioning coach too. So if you do want to get your sports and physical testing done there, like you're not going to find anyone better in Western New York than Impulse Physical Therapy. So for all the young hockey players out there to look kind of like find out where they are right now in their in their development and their conditioning, stop on down there at Depew. Again, I couldn't recommend them more. Great facility. So, Hurls, we'll kick it over to you for your final thoughts before we get out of here.
Yeah, just like a general roster projection as of this current moment, and I guess like where people can land on where they think going into the fall. But I think some combination of Benson, Norris, Tage, first line, Ostlund, Doan. I guess you can throw Helenius there for now, and this was provided Yuri Kulik is not ready to start the season in the NHL. He very well may be, and then things can change. But Ostlund, Doan, Helenius. You could do Zucker, Quinn, McLeod. I know people didn't love that line to end of the year. Maybe you could switch things up in the middle six. And then Carrick with Mallinston and Krebs. And then obviously Sammy Dahlin, Power, Zellweger, potentially Crevier, Timmins, maybe Ryan Johnson in there. Who knows? I think you've got a few different options on the back end. Who knows where Logan Stanley's going to be to start the season.
Still not signed.
Yeah. So. Probably not, I would say so. But either way, I think they've got some options. You've got Danforth. You've got, I think, obviously, Kulik would change things. So either way, I like the top six a lot. I think that Kulik being back and healthy could affect that and make it even better. But that top line, provided, this is a big if, Josh Norris stays healthy, I'm pretty happy with that as the top line. I think Norris has proven when he's healthy, obviously the postseason wasn't ideal, but I think he can produce as a top line center with Zach Benson and Tage Thompson. And then if Noah Ostlund and Konsta Helenius show what they did especially in the second half of last year in the playoffs. I think they can be absolutely relevant contributors in the middle six. And then Ryan McLeod in a better third line role. Jason Zucker, we all know what to expect from him at this point. And Jack Quinn had a 50-point season last year and scored 20 goals. And I think we know what we're getting from the fourth line. So I'm still enthused. Obviously, people are, I guess, frustrated by inaction, but I think that's always the case. And they have so far been intelligent this offseason and made the move that they've needed to make for the present and the future, which I'm happy about because this is an experienced and well-respected front office, something we haven't been able to say in a long time for the Buffalo Sabres organization. And I think they're doing as good of a job as they can in a tough market to make trades, and obviously in regards to free agency with not too many options this offseason. Other than Alex Tuck, and I think they made a good effort at him. So I think it is what it is at this point. And I don't necessarily think they're done. So I think things could change.
I don't think they're done either. I think there's
training camp.
Again, too many forwards on this team. I think, there has been a lot of talks around. I know like other people have reported that, Jack Quinn hasn't been involved in any conversations trade wise or whatnot, but I don't know, man. There's too many forwards on this team, and I don't know who the odd man out is going to be, but everybody always seems to think it's Jack Quinn. It very well could be. I think he's only got is it 1 or 2 years left in that deal? I can't remember how long that deal was, the extension that he signed, but we do have one quick question here in the chat, and it's not hockey related, but I didn't see your thoughts on it. I'll give my own, but which Sabres jersey do you associate the Bills nickel shitty jerseys with? I'm not too bothered. Just want the red helmet alternates.
I think the most common association I've seen is the turd burger, and I would say that is the best comparison. Do you hate
the jersey?
Oh yeah, they're disgusting. And I'm usually pretty positive when it comes to these things. I think they're horrible. And I think they're horrible mostly because they're mostly gray. I don't necessarily think the helmet is that bad. I just think the gray is such an uninspired look, and it doesn't look good on TV. It doesn't look good on the field. It was already in our color palette. We're the Nickel City. Nobody calls it the Nickel City. Nobody has that association with the city of Buffalo. I think they were grasping at this very far-fetched idea and playing on this blue collar trope that is honestly pretty offensive, given that blue collar people can't afford to go to games anymore, and it's millionaires selling a concept to a blue collar fan base that has not only taken their tailgating away, but you can't even afford a single game ticket. It's ridiculous, quite frankly. So I think it's dumb. I think they tried way too hard. And they should have just listened to what the fans wanted, which should be the
red helmet is the Bills' goat head, right at this point. You know what I mean? That's
exactly.
Exactly. Listen,
and they're gonna still wear them this year, and I think that it'll be really cool wearing them on the road. I think that's going to be on Christmas in Denver, an all white combination with the red helmet. I think is going to look really good. But to not wear it at home and not to give the people what they want.
They might still wear it at home. You don't know that. They could still wear it at home. You might get a home opener. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think the jerseys objectively are ugly. And it's not an overreaction because people care about this team and they want the team and what they look like to reflect the city and what the people want. And this is not what people wanted. I think you can say that pretty confidently based upon the reaction. Maybe you have a difference of opinion. I haven't heard a single person that likes them.
So here's my opinion. I don't hate them. I'm not saying I like them, but I don't hate them. I don't hate them as viscerally as the rest of the fan base. I'm not gonna let a jersey ruin my day.
No, I'm not either. But if you're talking about what I think it looks like, I think it looks like shit.
I do agree with all your thoughts with the blue collar stuff. You're pricing out the blue collar people from being able to go to a game. The tailgating thing is an absolute joke. You put this giant broken folding table as on display in the new stadium, but then you take away some of the best parts of tailgating away from the fans. I don't know, man. I'm indifferent when it comes to jersey. I just don't care. I don't care when football games.
But people are allowed to have an opinion on them because we clearly have not much to talk about this summer, and I just think they're ugly.
I mean, either team, man. Really, honestly, neither team has had some groundbreaking offseason.
If we're being honest, like sometimes that's good.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I think the jersey is better with the helmet. You know, if they were just gonna wear their normal helmets, awful. I think it makes a little bit more stomachable with the helmet. I did see a different version of the helmet where they outlined the buffalo in white with the red stripe, and I thought that looked sick. We do know that from Josh Allen's interview today with the media, we do know that they pay attention to social media because Josh Allen addressed it.
He's obviously got a burner, and he's like also like they've got ESPN, they've got FS1 on in the locker rooms, and like these jerseys, the reception to it has been so bad that national sports TV shows and podcasts are covering how bad they are. That's when you know like you've reached a different level where the conversation goes outside your fan base, right? I just think that they missed the mark. And if they did 2 focus groups with just your general season ticket holder or people in the Buffalo area, they would have known that people would not have liked these. And I think they probably knew even months ago when that leak came out. I don't know. I think that sometimes these people think they're the smartest people in the room and that they can outsmart everybody. But at the end of the day, I think the fans, more often than not, the general population that's followed the team for years, this is Sabres and Bills included, usually have a general idea of what looks best from an aesthetic perspective. And I'm strictly talking that because a uniform's a uniform. If they win a game in them, they're going to be immortalized, right?
Yeah.
I just think it looks bad, and that's it.
Yeah, and listen, even like Josh said, like when they asked him flat out, like, which do you like better, this one or last year's, the whiteout jersey? He's like, well, we lost in the whiteout jersey, so
yeah. And if they lose
to the Patriots,
if they lose in these jerseys, oh boy.
Oh man, who are they playing in these jerseys?
They haven't announced yet.
Oh man,
it's got to be one of the few layups on their schedule.
It's got to be the Jets, right? It's gonna be the Jets.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. If they want to really show them off, I could see Terry being like, "Yeah, put them in a primetime game," and then
Thanksgiving night.
If they lose to the Chiefs and wearing these jerseys, like, oh my god. Yeah, man. But I'm not like too fired up. I think that people have said that the reaction is over dramatic. Like, what do you expect for the end of July? Like, of course that's going to happen. So like, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to buy one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, agreed. If you guys have enjoyed this podcast, please remember that we are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Please make sure to check us out and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a good review. We really, really, really appreciate it. I am on Twitter, Instagram. You can find me at DuaneS39, as well as the podcast at Two Goalies on Mike on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. You can find my co-host at CHurls13 on Twitter. I can't remember. I'll eventually remember what your Instagram handle is, but you can find him there. And most importantly, if you're watching on YouTube, please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit your little bell icon, turn your notifications on so you know when we go live, hit that like button, smash that like button, and there is now a hype button. You can hype our show. You can like it and hype it. So like and hype. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, like, hype immediately. We really appreciate it. We will talk to you guys next week, unless something dramatic happens. If Connor Hellebuck signs like tomorrow, we'll probably talk to you. But until then, we'll talk to you guys later. And as always, go Sabres.